In today's video, we will be looking at a product I've been kind of eyeballing out of the corner of my eye for a little while there, and that would be one of these here Vaper Non-Aerosol sprayers. Kind of looking out of the corner of my eye for a while. I mean, most guys I see using these are using them with brake cleaner. Saves you money. I mean, what is it? 5 gallon of brake clean costs you $40. The cans by themselves are 10, $15 depending on where you're getting them. So I see where the benefit to that is. My thing is that my shop supplies brake clean for me. I'm not paying for it out of pocket. So however I want to pay, however it's paid for, it doesn't really matter to me all that much. But I was thinking lately, because usually what I do when I do a PM, PM used to stand for preventative maintenance, and now it stands for planned maintenance, because customers used to say, hey, you just did preventative maintenance on my forklift and now it's broken. So what did you do? So we turn it to planned maintenance, which means we're just, I don't know, just changing your oil and checking stuff, but whatever. Yeah, so whenever I get done doing a PM on a forklift or any equipment for that matter, I'll always just kind of go over it with a little bit of heavy duty degreaser, get the gunk off of the seat and where the operator sits, steering wheel, mirrors, and just kind of make everything look a little bit nicer. So maybe they'll be a little less hesitant to give me the things. It's my forklift and I want to use it all day until it breaks, and then quick get it done type scenario. And yeah, so I like to give them just a quick wipe down. And the problem is that these spray bottles, they suck. I go through like 6 of these a year, probably. That might be exaggerating a little bit, but you know how it is. The nozzles always stop working. They start leaking all over the place, and they break when you drop them. And I'm just sick of them. So that's when I decided to give this guy a try right here. I will say that it specifically says not to use acid in these. I'm pretty sure the reason why they don't want you to use acid in them is because the internal steel tank on this thing, they don't want it to get eaten up and then weaken it and then kaboom, is what I'm sure they're worried about. And it also says don't use water-based solvents, which this is a water-based solvent, especially after you dilute it. That, I mean, again, with the rest, we'll see. I'm pretty sure they're more concerned with the fact that this could freeze and boop, and then you got to fully charge and then boop, boop, and then big boom again. So, I mean, one, it doesn't really get that cold around here as far as freezing goes. Once you mix water, 50-50 mix with your degreaser, it really lowers the freezing point of this bottle, degreaser and the water in it. Best I've ever had on the coldest day I can remember is just kind of got slushy in the back of the thing. But as a precaution, I'll just discharge the end of the thing at the end of the day when it's cold out, and that way there I don't have to worry about big booms. But yeah, so I'm going to try it like that. We'll see if it turns out not to work, or for some other reason it's a bad idea. I'll just have 3 years worth of WD-40 sitting in this thing when I need it. But yeah, so like I said, I'm going to give it a try. I heard a lot of things about this thing. Like I said, the guys who use them seem to like them. I know Harbor Freight makes under their, begins with an M, I can't remember, Maddox or Maddox or something like that. They kind of have a I guess we'll call it a clone or a knockoff of this thing. That particular one, I've heard mixed reviews on it. Some people say it's great. Some people say it stinks, it leaks, and yada, yada, yada. And yeah, so I just, for a few extra bucks, I just decided to go for what would be considered the real deal. And yeah, so quick specs on the thing. Holds 32 ounces, working pressure between 80 and 200 psi. Well, 80 and 150 psi. Max pressure is 200 psi. And yeah, I think that's about it. So let's flip the camera down, take a quick look at it, maybe do some tests as far as tests go on this channel, and see what we think. All right, well, this is it in all its glory once the camera adjusts to it. They do, I forgot to mention, they do sell these in different colors, red, blue, yellow, black, I believe, are the colors that they sell it in. And yeah, I mean, not much to see here. You got the label in the front. They do give you a little spot at the bottom of the label to write what's actually in the can: brake clean, WD, whatever the heck you plan on using. On the top here, you got the fill port for the liquid and the fill port for the air. And that just simply unscrews, and then you fill it up. Put this guy on here, and pull that off and give it a shot of air. Me personally, I mean, for as much as this thing costs, you couldn't have gotten a metal screw-on style with an O-ring. No, okay. I don't know. It's a kind of a petty critique, but it's the one I got. Over here, you got the trigger. Obviously, that just kind of goes in and out. It's a bit of a heavy trigger, but nothing mechanic hands should be able to handle here. Coming around the backside, we have a warning label that was put on by someone who was not only cross-eyed but wearing one shoe, because that's as crooked as a politician. And then you got the spray nozzle. So let's say I'm kind of curious myself as to what the actual spray pattern looks on this thing, like as far as how it looks. So I got an idea how we could actually check that. I'm going to just, like I said, fill it up with water. According to the instructions, it's 32 ounces, 4 cups, a quart, whatever increments you decide to use. But yeah, fill it up with a quart of water. They say 2/3, so we're talking right about there. We'll pressurize it, and we'll see what kind of spray pattern we're getting out of this thing. Alright, there we go. We got it all filled up with water. I'll put the cap back on there. Get a little snug with the old adjustable wrench, just in case you were wondering. It comes up to about here, which is the 32 ounces. Brings it right up to about here. So we're talking about yay much of fluid. And kind of wondering what this thing weighs all filled up. Let's get out the old scale here. On. And I should do this on the surface. Tear. Drop the old guy on there. 4.14 pounds. Mode, or 1,866 grams. So yeah, I mean, it's a chunky little guy. Now to actually fill the thing, I'm going to use my Milwaukee inflator here, and I'm pretty sure this thing will actually go up to 120 psi. So we're 30 psi short of what the actual max working pressure is, but yeah, 120 psi. And we got the old Schrader valve here. Pull this guy off, and it is 120 psi, but it should fill up relatively quickly because, I mean, you're only filling up yay amount of air. So let's give it a whirl. I'm going to turn it down, but headphone warning. Alright, well, that's got it stopped. For some reason that's leaking. I don't think that's supposed to be leaking. Alright, let's take a look at it. Pressure off. And yeah, it's already discharged. that loose. Is there a seal in here? It certainly looks like there's supposed to be a seal in there, but there is not one in there. And pretty sure the first time I took this off was on camera in front of you guys. So, yeah, let me look around. Well, I found this in the bag, in the box. So I don't know if this is a spare one, and mine never got a seal, but I mean, it definitely looks like that's where it belongs. It doesn't come off without tapping it, so that is a little weird. Alright, well, I'm not going to make you sit through filling this thing up again, so let's tighten this guy down and pump it back up. Hopefully this time it doesn't leak. Alright, that filled up considerably faster than the last time because, I mean, obviously it wasn't leaking. And let's let it sit here for a minute and see if that gauge drops at all. I think we're doing all right at this point. Alright, it seems to be holding pressure pretty good. I let it sit for about a minute, and it held solid at that 120. Now let's try it again with a fresh sheet of cardboard to see what that spray pattern looks like. Hopefully it's less streamy. Yeah, that is a, you can kind of feather it too, which gives it a little bit, that's nice. Alright, yeah, full blast is kind of more of a stream, and if you feather it, it kind of fans out a little bit more. Fresh sheet here. Yeah, cool. Alright, I'm kind of wondering how long this thing will actually run on a charge, so let's try to assess that without making too much of a mess. We're going to hit start on the old timer, start spraying, get the cup in there, and this was a ill-conceived plan, but it's the one I'm going with. Alright, we're going to start that over. Alright, I'm kind of curious as to how much fluid you get out of the tip of this thing for the amount of time you're going to use it. So let's kind of try to two-hand things. Still see the gauge over there, yep. Now this is full throttle, so I don't know if I'd ever be using it like this, but again, just kind of curious. We're just going to take it down to 80 psi on the old M12 inflator and see how much fluid we get out of it. Down to 100. 65 or 95. Light went out, but it's still on. 90, 88, 82, 80. There we go. And that was a little over 1 minute. So we got, I'll measure it and I'll put it in the screen here, but I mean this is about yay high on this, and again that's full throttle, and that's this at 120 psi as opposed to the recommended psi of 150 psi. But yeah, that's a good bit of fluid that ran through that thing that quick. And another thing too, you got to remember that as you use the fluid up in this thing and you recharge it, you're going to get more volume air in it, which will make it actually last longer. So I mean, you could probably even just fill it up halfway. Might not be a bad idea. Fill it up with air if you're more concerned about having to constantly charge this thing. So there we go. A few few missteps and hitches aside, I think we got a kind of a decent idea how this thing works and what it'll do for me. As far as using water-based degreaser in it, I'm going to do it. I'm a big boy. I bought the thing. I can do whatever the heck I want. We'll see. If it starts being a problem again, like I said in the beginning of the video, I'll just put something in here that's not water-based, and we'll go from there. Any of you guys who are using one of these, if you're using water-based solvents in yours, if it's giving you a problem, let me know. If it's not giving you a problem, let me know either way. I'm going to use it for at least a couple of weeks before I actually post this video, so definitely check the description and yeah, see what my opinion is after a couple of weeks worth of use, which is pretty much goes for any of my videos. I always recommend you check the description because sometimes opinions changes and I learn things about stuff that's not worth making a whole new video on, and I put it down in the description just so you know for future reference. But yeah, so I'm gonna fill it, see how it fits in my daily use. I think cons on the thing, when it's fully filled, it's a heavy little guy. I mean, close to 5 pounds. It's not lightweight. Spray pattern, I would like a more of a atomized spray on it, but it'll do for what I need it to do. Runtime, a minute. I measured it. It was 10 ounces out of the thing. That's a good bunch of degreaser to be squirting out. And like I said, I'll probably be using it at half throttle or quarter throttle because I'm just misting it down and then I wipe it down with wipe down the forklift with a set of towels and call it a day. I'm not doing like spring cleaning on the darn thing. But yeah, so like I said, I'll be into it a couple of weeks by the time I post this video, give you a better opinion of it in the description once I do. Speaking of the description, I will link this in the description if you are interested in checking one out. Any questions, comments, concerns, leave them down in the old comments section. I'll do my best to get back to you. I'm thinking that's about a video right there. I'd like to thank you for watching. There you go.